we often talk about like this triangle that every company or in like every franchisor has to meet, like the investors, the customers, and then like your employees. So like with Picklr, I guess how do you make the package, cost effective for consumers, like make it fun for them, make them want to come back, and then make the franchise like profitable for franchisees, which obviously like a lot of people like want to become your franchisee, and then also like build a long-term
Yeah.
sustainable.
Well, and I think one of the things with being a franchisor, and one of the things that we continue to remind not only the employees, but we got to have a belief that again, if it's not successful for a franchisee, then it doesn't work for the franchisor. If they fail, we fail, right? And so we invest heavily into making sure that we understand how do we get to profitability through the right processes and working hand in hand with our franchisees, right? I think early on, and I hear this all the time, that HQ and franchisees can sometimes butt heads, right? And that's the last thing we want. We have a dynamic here at the Picklr, even with our employees, that we're trying to build an all-star team, and we're trying to do right by our franchisees, because that's what keeps us up at night. We got people that invested into our brand, that have invested into the mission, that invested into us as founders, and so we have to make sure that we do right by them, not only by the processes and building a brand, but also, to your point, cost, right? And so everything that we look at or think about is how do we do things at scale, and from construction packages to technology packages to bringing partnership dollars, to making sure they have successful launches right off the bat, so they have a strong foundation of members. And so all of that stuff consumes us as a franchisor. And then from a membership experience, look, people have options nowadays when it comes to indoor facilities. Just like Anytime Fitness, why would anyone be willing to pay $300 at Lifetime versus $25 at Planet Fitness, right? And it's all going to be about the membership experience, right? When you walk into a Picklr, we like to say that we are the equinox of pickleball. When you feel it as soon as you walk in the door, right? How beautiful the pro shop is, how beautiful our facility is, from the bathrooms to the tile to the sound baffling, to how well the courts are done, to the spacing, to the TVs that are advertising. I mean, you name it, every detail that we've thought of is for membership experience. And then on top of that, how do we make sure that we're providing the best pickleball experience, right? So we have a whole team that's dedicated to programming. We got people that are building out certification processes for our trainers, so that we know that if someone is taking a clinic or a lesson at the Picklr, that they are getting the best lesson that they've ever received, right? Same with our kids academies and our junior academies. Same with our competitive events, from tournaments to just your weekly, king of the court. There's a lot of stuff that we are trying to create so that the experiences, man, that was a lot of fun. I loved coming to the Picklr. I want to continue to come back. And so we also invest very heavily in making sure that our members they can get the most out of their experience with the Picklr.
Yeah, and we had to ask this one about Drew Brees, but how did you connect with him, and how did you guys structure the partnership? Oh,
Drew
wow.
Brees. You know what? Drew grew up playing tennis, and just like a lot of us that fell in love with pickleball during the pandemic, he was one of those, right? So he put a sports court in the back and started playing with his kids, and he invested in a pickleball team just like we did early on. And so Drew is a competitor. He loves pickleball. He started to get into this space. The beautiful thing about Drew is that people don't realize how extensive his knowledge is on franchisees. I think we're his sixth or seventh concept that he's invested in, and he's very smart because he knows he has a brand, he knows he has experience, And so he leverages that, right? And he came to us. Well, a gentleman named Aaron Scholl, shout out to Aaron. He loved pickleball, and he was actually Drew Brees' equipment manager during his Purdue days, and knew that Drew loved pickleball, knew that Drew was very passionate about franchising. And this gentleman also is a CTO for another franchising concept and pitched Drew on it. Drew originally said no, said, not a problem, Drew. We'll circle back when you think we're ready. Say in the meantime, all the territories you're interested in, we're going to sell because we have people that are interested in it. And he came back a week later, he's like, I'm back in. We figured out an ambassador deal. He is opening up his first location in January, and owns Indiana, Ohio, and Michigan. So 30 locations. So Drew has a very passionate and very experienced operations team that he plugs in, and then he has the right partners along the way to get these facilities up and going. So I think in Indiana, where he played college at Purdue, he'll have 2 facilities open before January. So he's been an awesome partner. He brings a lot of value because he's not just your classic ambassador that's just a big name. He comes with a lot of experience, and we bounce ideas out. We actually asked him to be on our board, but he's very busy, and Drew, if you know anything about him, wants to do everything 110%, and wasn't able to do that right now. But that's how much we value Drew, as we even asked him to be on our board. But yeah, Drew's awesome.
Yeah. I was wondering, do you know what changed in that week from the no to yes?
Hey, all the stuff you want is going to be gone. So it's scarcity, right? Like, but the thing is, we weren't kidding. Like, that's how much interest we had in those states, right? And so, I think he must have realized that, again, we were, for us to have sold 400 locations plus in 18 months. I mean, we have people that are bought in. I mean, we haven't used a broker once. This is all done in-house. And then number 2, we don't spend money on marketing when it comes to inbound leads. And we get around 250 leads every single month right now. Still, to this date.
So how many territories are you planning to sell in the US?
We're gonna close it out around 750. So you can see we're pretty much sold out. I think by the end of the year we'll be at 500, and so that's the other reason why we don't want to saturate the United States with picklers on every corner, right? We want people to have very healthy, very a nice moat around their territories of 200,000 people or more, with certain income categories, right? And so we want everyone to be able to have the ability to have success in their territory. So we think by next year, yeah, we could be sold out of territory. So I think there's a lot of people that realize that, and they want to make sure they get in.
Yeah, like a happy, sad moment to be sold out.
yeah, but then we go international, right? Our goal is to do probably three international deals, probably primarily focusing on the UK, Spain, and then we're trying to figure out, is it Mexico? I'm starting to see facilities pop up in Mexico left and right, which is kind of cool. Dubai is another one that I think could handle, and so we're just, my goal this year is just continue to keep my ear to the ground of what's happening international, and we have to get in at the right time, just like we did here in the US, because again, we're not the only ones. When we went to Canada and announced it, there was already someone that beat us to being the franchisor out there. But luckily we've been doing this for 3.5 years, and as a franchisor, about 1.5 years. And so we believe with our experience, with our operations, with our brand, we can come in and replicate this in other countries.
So that's amazing to hear. Like, usually a lot of franchisors, they see the US growth and international growth as being very separate and fragmented. So the international growth is left for later. Obviously, you guys have this competitive pressure, but how do you have the confidence that pickleball is rising around the world?
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, we have a lot of partners that have access to data in regards to in every country right now, they have a governing body of pickleball, right? And so they understand what is happening within their own countries, and so we partner um, with those governing bodies throughout the other countries, and we're able to determine and they keep track of the growth. Now, great point. Our goal is solely focused as a franchisor to make sure that we are keeping track and focus domestically. That's why we partner with the right master franchisee, because they are going to be the extension of us. We'll continue to support them and train them and help them open locations for a short period of time until they feel confident. So yes, HQ will provide those resources, but that's why we're also very picky when it comes to who's going to be the master, because having franchisee experience and capital, we believe that we are sophisticated enough that we can help them replicate that in other countries with our experience. And so we have to find the right partners, because it can't just be anyone that loves pickleball and can write a check. They also have to have the experience to scale.